I'm Lisa Inlow, and I'd like to thank you for letting me share with you today. Have you ever been in a class with a teacher who was grumpy or crabby and just behaved like she didn't care if you were there or cared if she was there? Even if you might not be going into a career of teaching, you can benefit from learning immediacy behaviors. In my research, I found some expert advice that I'd like to share with you. Immediacy behaviors used by teachers affect student learning and the student-teacher relationship. We're going to talk about what immediacy behaviors are, how they directly impact a student's learning, and their bearing on the student-teacher relationship. Before we can look at the effects of immediacy behaviors, let's look at what immediacy behaviors are. Immediacy behaviors are nonverbal and verbal communication used to send positive messages of liking and closeness and to decrease perceived distance between people. Nonverbal immediacy behaviors use the body instead of the voice for communication. Communication professors Sanders and Weissman, an article from 1990, that effects of verbal and nonverbal teacher immediacy on perceived cognitive, affective, and behavioral learning in the multicultural classroom, said that nonverbal cues are eye contact, facing towards the student, gestures, smiling, having a relaxed body position, moving around, and closeness or proximity. Menarte, Lopes, and Pierre from the University of Portugal, from 2014, an article, Contributions to the Empirical Study of Immediacy on the Pedagogical Relationship Through Self-Narratives, they say that nonverbal communication has the purpose of transmitting emotion, attitudes, and the social position. It defines the type of relationship that's desired. Will it be casual and friendly, or will it be professional, or somewhere in between? Verbal immediacy includes the words we say, how we say them, and what we do with our voice, like pitch, tone, or volume. Sanders and Weissman say that our words that we say signal approach or openness. If you use we instead of I or you, that connotes solidarity instead of distancing. And that using humor and self-disclosure are very good verbal immediacy cues as well. More on what we say from West Virginia University professor Joan Gorham in an article from 1988 titled The Relationship Between Verbal Immediacy Behaviors and Student Learning. They say that when a teacher verbalizes positive results for on-task behavior, it's much more immediate than negative consequences for failing to comply. Now that we know what immediacy behaviors are, let's look at how they affect a student's learning. If a student is at ease in the classroom instead of apprehensive, they will be able to process information. Joan Gorham said that vocal expressiveness, smiling, having a relaxed body posture are meaningful, particularly meaningful to students, and that increased movement and gesturing clearly is related to increased cognitive learning. University professors Allen, Witt, and Wheelis, in an article from 2006 entitled The Role of Teacher Immediacy as a Motivational Factor in Student Learning, said that teacher immediacy perceived by students generates increased enthusiasm for material and instruction. Furthermore, positive immediacy behaviors directly affect their desire to learn. When I was in high school, I loved to learn until I came to chemistry class. My chemistry teacher, upon looking back, I realized she talked with a monotone voice and she never came out from behind the desk that she always stood at the front of the class. She didn't try to connect with us on an individual basis, and I could have cared less what she said or about the class. Diane Christoffel, assistant professor of speech and organizational communication, in an article from 1990 entitled The Relationships Among Teacher Immediacy Behaviors, Student Motivation and Learning, so that immediate teachers are viewed as more positive and effective. They have increased affect toward the teacher and the course. So we can see that teacher immediacy directly affects the ability to learn and the desire to learn. How about teacher communication? How does it directly impact the relationship between the student and the teacher? University professor Allen and reading coordinator Shaw from 1990, in an article, Teachers' Communications Behaviors and Supervisors' Evaluation of Instruction in Elementary and Secondary Classrooms, says that student perceptions are strong indicators of positive influence toward the instructor. I interviewed a 7th grade teacher, Myra Yost. She said when students feel comfortable with her, they will share difficult situations in their life, like trauma at home or other things, and then she can counsel them. She said that they told her that they feel she is safe, someone safe they can share with. As we've learned, teacher immediacy has a powerful impact on the student-teacher relationship and the life of the student. I'm sure each of you has a story, positive or negative, about a teacher in your life. Immediacy behaviors used by teachers affect student learning and the student-teacher relationship. Facing students, using their name, pointing out the positive, eye contact, smiling are all positive immediacy behaviors. These actions will help give not only the ability, but the desire of students to learn. These communication techniques create a productive relationship between the student and the teacher. If you recall, I said that these immediacy behaviors would be extremely useful in your life too. If you even though they don't come naturally, if you practice them and use them, it will enhance your relationships with others. Will you use positive immediacy behaviors in your relationships, whether at home, at work, or in your neighborhood? Thank you very much for letting me share with you today.